Before we begin, check every door around you. The front door, the bedroom door, the one you never use. Doors exist to separate spaces, to keep things in or keep things out. But sometimes they exist to see who is willing to open them. In 2020, I moved into a rental house outside the city. Old neighborhood, quiet streets, the kind of place where nothing ever seemed to happen. The landlord mentioned one thing during the walkthrough. The back door sticks sometimes, he said. Just make sure it is locked at night. The first week passed without incident. On the 8th night, I woke up around 2:40 a.m., not from a sound, from the feeling that something had changed. I listened. The house was quiet. Too quiet. I checked my phone. No notifications. I rolled over and tried to sleep. Then I heard it. The back door handle is turning. Slowly. Deliberately. I froze. No footsteps followed. No door opening. Just the sound of the latch testing itself. I stayed in bed until sunrise. In the morning, I checked the back door. It was unlocked. I was certain I had locked it. That night, I double-checked every door. Front, back, garage. At 2:40 a.m., the sound came again. This time, from the front door. The handle turned once. Stopped, turned again. Like whoever was outside was learning how it worked. I did not move. In the morning, the front door was unlocked too. I installed the cameras the next day. The footage showed nothing unusual, except one detail. At exactly 2:40 a.m., every door in the house unlocked itself at the same time. No movement, no person. Just the locks disengaging. On the third night, I heard a knock. From inside the house. It came from the hallway closet. The one door I never used. I stood in the hallway staring at it, heart pounding, telling myself this was just another unexplained house noise. Old houses settle. Old doors shift. That is what people say in every true horror story before something proves them wrong. I opened the closet. Nothing inside. No storage. No attic access. Just a narrow, unfinished space that smelled like cold air and dust. I closed it and locked it. That night, the knocking came again. 3 knocks. Slower than before. I did not open it. Instead, I searched online for similar experiences. Haunted house stories, paranormal door encounters, true scary stories about doors unlocking themselves. The results were unsettling. Hundreds of posts described the same details. Doors unlocking at the same time every night. Sounds of someone testing handles. Knocking from inside unused rooms. One phrase appeared repeatedly. It is not breaking in, it is checking. The 4th night, I heard footsteps. Not approaching me. Not leaving. Pacing. Back and forth in the hallway. I stayed in my bedroom, staring at the door. At 2:40 a.m., my bedroom lock clicked open by itself. The handle did not turn, the door did not move. Only the lock disengaged, as if whatever controlled the others had reached me. That was when I understood this was not random. This was a pattern. Every door unlocked in sequence. Every night. Closer. The 5th night, the closet door opened on its own. I watched from the end of the hallway as it slowly swung outward, stopping just short of fully open. Something inside shifted, not stepping out, just adjusting its position. A voice came from the darkness. You always lock it the same way. It sounded familiar. Not because I recognized it, but because it matched the tone of my own thoughts. I slept in my car after that. When I returned during the day to pack my things, The closet door was closed. Locked. The cameras showed nothing unusual. No movement. No footage missing. Except the timestamps. Every recording between 2:38 a.m. and 2:42 a.m. was corrupted. I moved out without telling the landlord why. Months later, curiosity got the better of me again. I searched the address online. I found a forum post from a new tenant. They asked if anyone else had issues with doors unlocking themselves at night. The comments were locked. The listing for the house was removed. I learned something important from that experience. Something that comes up in a lot of real paranormal stories, but is rarely stated outright. If a door unlocks itself, it is not an invitation. It is a test. And if you keep relocking it, something eventually learns how you do it. Because not every door is meant to keep things out. Some of them exist to see how long you'll pretend nothing is trying to get in. In 2022, I lived alone on the 9th floor of an apartment building. Old construction, heavy doors, the kind that shuts with weight, not sound. Every night before bed, I closed my bedroom door. Every morning, it was open. At first, I blamed myself. Sleepwalking. Forgetting. The human brain filling in gaps when it is tired, but the pattern was too consistent. The door was never fully open. Always the same distance. Wide enough to see into the hallway. Narrow enough to feel intentional. One night, I tested it. I closed the door and placed a chair under the handle, angled carefully. Impossible to miss. I filmed it with my phone and left it recording on the dresser. At 3:12 a.m., the chair slid backward on its own. The door opened slowly. No one entered. The door closed again. I watched the footage in the morning, frame by frame. There was no jump cut, no shadow crossing the camera, just the chair moving as if pushed evenly, deliberately, from the other side. The next night, I stayed awake. At 3:12 a.m., I heard breathing on the other side of the door. Not fast, not nervous. Patient. Like someone waiting their turn. I asked who was there. The breathing stopped. Then something pressed against the door from the other side. Not a hand. Something flat. Heavy. Like a body leaning in to feel the shape of the room. The door bowed inward slightly. The handle rattled once, then settled. I stayed frozen, convinced that if I moved, whatever was there would learn where I was standing. After a full minute, the pressure lifted. The door closed, softly. The next morning, I noticed fingerprints on the paint near the handle. Not smudges, not oil, indentations. As if the door had been pressed from the other side by something that did not need skin. I searched online for similar experiences. Apartment horror stories, bedroom door paranormal encounters, true scary stories about doors opening and closing on their own. The results were overwhelming. Different buildings, different cities. Same time. 3:12 a.m. One post described it perfectly. It is not opening the door, it is checking if you notice. The third night, I heard movement in the hallway before the door opened. Slow footsteps. Bare feet dragging slightly, as if weight was being shifted carefully to avoid sound. The handle turned, stopped, turned again. The door opened halfway this time. Something exhaled. Warm air spilled into my room. I did not sleep after that. I moved out 2 days later. The new tenant posted online a week after that. They asked if anyone else had issues with the bedroom door opening and closing on its own. The comments were disabled shortly after. Months later, curiosity pulled me back to the listing. The apartment was still vacant. Rent lowered twice. No photos of the bedroom door. A maintenance worker replied to one forum thread I found late one night. He said the door had been rehung, hinges replaced, frame reinforced. It still closed itself every night, from the inside. I learned something important from that apartment, something that shows up in a lot of real horror stories but rarely gets explained. If a door closes on its own, it is not trying to trap you. It is trying to see if you will stay. Because once something learns that you do not leave, it stops closing the door and starts opening it wider. In 2017, my building had a door that led to the roof. It was not supposed to be accessible. No handle, no sign. Just a solid metal door at the end of the top floor hallway. Most tenants never noticed it. Those who did assumed it was a maintenance access door. Locked, forgotten, irrelevant. The first time I paid attention to it was late at night, just after midnight, while walking back from the laundry room. As I passed it, I heard a voice from behind the door. "Can you open this for me?" I stopped. The voice sounded normal, tired, polite, not threatening, not distorted, human. I asked who it was. There was a pause long enough to feel deliberate. Then the voice said my name. I backed away slowly, never turning my back to the door. My heart was racing, but the hallway remained empty. No footsteps, no shadows, just the door and the feeling that something had registered my reaction. The next night, the voice returned. Same tone, same calm patience. "I have been waiting," it said. I did not respond. I walked past without looking at the door. The words followed me down the hallway anyway, lingering in the air longer than sound should. The following day, I contacted building management. They told me no one had roof access. The door had been sealed years ago. There were no cameras facing that section of the hallway because nothing had ever happened there. That night, I did not go near the top floor. On the third night, curiosity overpowered fear. I told myself it was stress, lack of sleep, my brain filling in silence with imagined sound. When I reached the end of the hallway, I saw the door was slightly open, just enough to see darkness behind it. No stairwell lights, no rooftop glow, just black. The voice whispered, "Thank you." I ran. I never went back to that floor again. For weeks afterward, I avoided elevators after midnight. I took the stairs instead. I stopped staying late at work. I stopped listening to music with headphones in shared spaces. But even from lower floors, I sometimes heard it. A knock. Soft, measured, always coming from above. I searched online for similar experiences. Haunted apartment stories, urban legends about sealed doors, true horror stories involving voices behind locked access points. The patterns were unsettling. The doors never forced themselves open. They never chased anyone. They only asked. One post from a former building inspector explained something I still think about. When older buildings are renovated, access points are sometimes sealed without fully removing what they once connected to. Not physically, functionally. The space remains, the exit does not. Months later, the door was welded shut. Maintenance reports listed the reason as repeated complaints of knocking from the inside. Not outside, inside. Residents on the top floor reported hearing polite requests through the metal, requests that used their names, requests that sounded disappointed when ignored. After the welding, the knocking stopped, but people still reported hearing voices in the hallway, not asking to be let out anymore, asking why no one answered before. I moved out shortly after that. The last time I passed the building, I looked up at the roof. Nothing unusual. No lights, no movement. But I noticed something new in the hallway window reflection as I walked by. The outline of a door, standing open, waiting. I learned something important from that experience. Something that appears again and again in real paranormal stories about forbidden doors and sealed access points. If something asks permission, it is not trapped. It is testing boundaries. And once it learns you will not open the door, it starts looking for someone else who will. Because some doors are not meant to keep things out. They exist to see who is willing to let them in. If a door unlocks itself, do not check why. If a door opens on its own, do not close it. If a door speaks, do not answer. Because some doors are not barriers, they are invitations. And the only thing they are waiting for is for someone to open them.